Well, we always say retirement is a journey, one that you shouldn't have to navigate solo. So that is why every week here on The Right Path to Retirement, we turn to financial advisor Jimmy Lynn, certified financial planner and the founder of Right Path Wealth Management right here in Las Vegas. All right, Jimmy, we have been talking about starting this new year off on the right financial foot. And one area that always gets attention this time of year is taxes. Everyone is looking for ways to keep more of what they've earned. And there's actually some good news for seniors thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It includes a $6,000 deduction starting this tax year. And we've got tax guru Ed Slott breaking it down for us recently on Morningstar.
It's a senior deduction. It's called in the law deduction for seniors. You get it if you're 65. That's all you have to be. It's 65, and you qualify for a $6,000 deduction. And it has some income limits. They're kind of low thresholds, but a lot of seniors will qualify for the $6,000 deduction. And it's a below-the-line deduction. It doesn't change your adjusted gross income. It doesn't change the amount of Social Security that will be taxable.
That's definitely good to know through 2028 when this deduction expires. But it also reminds us, Jimmy, that retirement taxes are not just about filing a return. It is about managing your income year by year so that Uncle Sam does not get more than he's entitled to. So, Jimmy, what does it really mean to step up from just tax filing to actually tax planning?
Well, Casey, it really is a mind shift because if we all know that, when you're in your working years, it is oftentimes relatively simple. Over a 20 or 30-year career, you're most often a W-2 employee. You get your W-2 every tax year, like about this time when many of us are going to get it, and you file your taxes and take your deductions. With the standard deductions, fairly simple right now. And so there's not a whole lot of thought that people have to put into it during their working years. We call it basically tax compliance. You're not really planning for anything. Mm-hmm. You're just reporting to the IRS that you're paying the appropriate amount of taxes. And if for some reason you're short, you're going to have to true up. And if you're over, you get that nice refund. So it's a pretty simple process during those working years. But when you go into retirement, it's a mind shift because now you really want to start thinking about multi-year or even generational tax planning. But it's very easy. I'll tell you this, Casey, it's very easy to kick that can down the curb because when you retire, your income oftentimes can go down to zero. And if you're not pulling Social Security and you have some money in savings, you can control your taxation, and it becomes very attractive to try to stay at the very lowest tax bracket because why volunteer to pay more? But that's where people get in a lot of trouble. I have a client right now that I've been working with for a couple years now, and she has a fairly large IRA. So we all know that that's tax deferred, and we're eventually going to have to pay that tax bill through a required distribution. And she's like, Jimmy, it's so nice right now. I'm in the 12% tax bracket. I've never been in the 12% tax bracket. Why would I volunteer to pay this? Because I have like 8 years until I have to start taking this money out. And we really have to help educate her on that mind shift of how those account values are going to grow. And then the government is going to come for that money. But when they come, they're going to start forcing large distributions. So instead of being in a 12% tax bracket, she could kick herself in to the 24, 28, 32 or higher tax brackets because she didn't plan it. So you're going to get these big spikes in your tax rates. And so really it's all about understanding what your future tax rates are going to be for yourself. If you're married and you have a surviving spouse that might end up having a higher tax rate, or for your children. Our whole goal is let's pay taxes when they're the lowest. And so I think it's creating that mind shift.
Well, and that client you're talking about, that's probably a conclusion she would not have come to by herself had she not worked with a professional who could give her this bigger picture to look at. She's just looking at, the balance right now. She probably would not have come to the conclusion to make these strategic moves that you helped lead her to, right?
You're right. I mean, it really takes education because these are not things that we learn in school, but being able to map it out, utilizing the tools that we have in office and just our depth of knowledge, we're able to map that out and make it make sense. Basically, we want to make it make sense to them. Like, we don't want to just tell them, hey, do a Roth conversion. We want to say, you're going to want to consider a Roth conversion because over your lifetime and your children's lifetime, this is the amount of money that you're going to keep from giving to the IRS, and more money in your family's pocket is always a good thing. So yeah, that's why we like to map that out. And these are the kind of things that we do, Casey, in our meetings. So if we have some listeners out there that are kind of in that same boat where they have some tax deferred money in a 401k or a traditional IRA, and they just don't know kind of that distribution process to minimize taxes, we can start a conversation like that. If the listeners give us a call, I'm at 702-744-8344. Give me a call. I got 5 spots on my calendar, and we can start that conversation and see if it makes sense to dig a little deeper.
It sounds like it's all about being proactive versus reactive. And I know we've got people listening who want to make that shift, who need to start planning, not just filing. So if that is your situation, I highly encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity Jimmy's got for you today. 702-744-8344. Give the team a call. We'll find you the next convenient time on the calendar. Let's get that ball rolling now on getting a tax plan set in place for you. 702-744-8344 or online at rightpathwm.com. All right, Jimmy. So talking about shifting from filing to planning, it really shows just how much strategy matters here. And there's strategy for all aspects of retirement planning. So I want to switch to the savings part for a moment. I came across a statistic this week that blew my mind. It said if you put 100 people in a room and you ask them, how many of you have saved $1 million for retirement? Only 3 hands would go up. Only about 3% of Americans have gotten there, Jimmy. So I want to talk to you about the other 97%. Can you compare for us the couple who has saved $1 million or more and then that couple that has saved, let's say, $500,000? How different does the planning look for those two different scenarios?
Well, the funny thing about that is you would expect a big difference in the way they view their retirement and how secure they feel. But I would say the $500,000 retiree and even like the 2.5 million retiree, they very oftentimes have kind of the same hesitations, concerns about the economy, about running out of money, about healthcare. So there's a lot of similarities no matter where you stand as far as what you've been able to save. But those that have saved, somewhere in the range of $500,000, and they feel like they're not sizing up to, that 3% that has hit that magical number that we've kind of created in our heads. I think it starts with kind of what are the expectations you have in retirement, and then what resources you have. Because you can have $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in your retirement accounts, but if you want to take a trip to Europe every other month, or you want to buy a $500,000 RV and travel around the country, that's not going to get you very far. And on the flip side, if you got $500,000, maybe you've been fortunate enough through hard work to pay off your home, and you got your Social Security coming in, and you live a pretty modest life that's going to keep you happy, then your resources are going to be fine. So I don't think it's really about how much you have saved. It's about what your expectations are in retirement and then how your resources match up to that. But once you've figured that out, you got to map out that plan, because you have to know where your income is coming from, and you have to have your expenses dialed in. But if you get those things correctly, then all the investment strategies kind of wrap around that. So I think that from a planning aspect, it is very similar. You still got to put in the work, but it can be achieved if you know your expectations and then look at the resources that you have.
I like that perspective, Jimmy, and I think it's easy for people to think, if I'm not at that million mark, then I've just completely failed. But we know that's just not true. There are smart ways to make what you've worked hard for work hard for you. So for those in that 97% who have not hit that $1 million mark yet, what strategies are we talking that can help them maximize what they do have without feeling like they've fallen short? Because I know some clients of yours are in this boat, and you're helping people work through options every single day. So talk to us about the strategy here.
Yeah, sometimes it's about an honest conversation. I'll tell you, I have a client right now that we brought on board. She's in her, I want to say she's like in her late 60s, single, and her resources were pretty limited. Mm-hmm. So we really broke down, like, what do we want in retirement? What are we going to have paid off? How much longer can you work, or are you willing to work? And once we kind of dialed in that information, we saw that she had some money in her IRA, and for her situation, it's not going to make sense for everyone, but for her situation, it made sense to create an additional income stream that's going to be guaranteed for life to supplement her Social Security. And by doing that, we have a plan that she knows that she's got about 4 or 5 more years to work. And once she gets to that point, she knows exactly how much her Social Security is going to be, and she knows exactly how much that income stream is going to be. And when we put those two pieces together, she said, you know what, Jimmy, that's more than enough for me to live comfortably in retirement. So we're implementing that plan now. So I think it's really about, again, understanding the plan and then creating buckets of money or creating income streams that are going to kind of match up to what our expectations are.
I think it's easy to feel like you're behind if you have not hit that $1 million mark. But as Jimmy has explained, it's not about the number. It's all about the strategy. And that's where having a professional in your corner is going to make all the difference for you. So dialing 702-744-8344 is the perfect place to start. If you're listening and you're thinking, I need a plan that's going to work for me, Jimmy and his team are here to help you maximize what you have and create that roadmap for your retirement. 702-744-8344. Jimmy has set aside 5 spots on his calendar for a complimentary retirement consultation. No obligation attached either. It's just a conversation. So I encourage you to take advantage while you can. 702-744-8344. Or you can always head online as well. The website is rightpathwm.com. Click on the Contact Us tab at the top right and fill out your info for us. And we'll be happy to reach out directly to you to get connected. 702-744-8344 or rightpathwm.com. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lynn here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.
Market Guard is a firm that provides investment signals as well as portfolio allocation recommendations, wide variety of model portfolios. Market Guard does not offer advice or enter into fiduciary relationships.